Welcome back to the Extra Rep podcast, guys. I'm Josh.
I'm Liam.
So today we're going to talk all things sleep. So obviously we want to talk about, why sleep's so important. And obviously a lot of you guys know this, right? So we're going to go a bit more in depth, especially to areas of, sleep for fat loss, sleep for muscle growth, sleep for general health. And then we're going to give you guys a couple of sleep hacks and a couple of things that we've been trialing that we found have been, really useful and have obviously contributed to us, getting better sleep and better results overall. So I guess the first place to start, Liam, is obviously we know, what sleep is. We know why it's important, but I guess from like your standpoint of a physiological, biological level, how does it sort of impact us as a whole, as a human?
It impacts everything, literally everything. Your digestion, your hormones, your energy the next day, your mood, literally like how your life is set up the next day could be completely impacted by the 8 to 10 to 6, however many hours you get the night before.
Yeah. It's really, really interesting. And a lot of people, again, probably blame other factors when, normally first and foremost, and I know with my clients, it's like one of the first two things I look at always. Is their sleep, if they're finding they're struggling with energy or whatever it is. And of course, there's other avenues to go down, but you will find by just fixing someone's sleep, you probably see it on the blood work as well, even just like all the other things that start just improving, as a general result of that. Have you found anything like in terms of blood work and that?
Yeah, so specifically I ask them if I've read a blood work analysis, I ask if I see a few red flags, like inflammation markers or especially cortisol, when you've measured that in the morning, and a few other markers there. I won't go too into the nitty gritty there, but I ask them, how was your sleep the night before this test? And yeah, if it was shit, it will show up in a blood analysis.
Yeah, for sure. And I think like one thing to talk about is sort of sleep when it just comes to like said, everyday function and general performance. So you'll see people, if they're getting a crap sleep, they're waking up, they're already irritable, they're already tired, they're not going to be able to do their job properly. Motivation's going to skyrocket down. Hunger's going to go up. There's all these little things that are going to happen that are all little byproducts that make all the other areas you're trying to look at, training, nutrition, lifestyle, it just makes them so much harder because you're not prioritizing the one thing that is going to give you 100% the best focus in terms of recovery.
Yeah. So in terms of like resetting our hormones and even things like our willpower, sleep is in charge of that. So when we wake up, we have as much dopamine in our system as possible in our brain. And dopamine depletes throughout the day, right? But this is why if you get started on certain things throughout the day, you feel like you start building momentum, it works really well. But if you woke up and you just scrolled your phone straight away and you feel tired before you start your 9 a.m. emails or whatever it may be, it's like, yeah, you literally woke up and depleted your dopamine straight away. So I like to look at it like that as even a form of energy as well. It's like we have probably the most amount of energy, or at least you should, depending on the sleep you got, when you wake up in the morning. Some people, and I've even experienced this myself, where I had multiple years where I was groggy in the morning and I was like, what's going on? I just slept for 10 hours. Did I oversleep? And I also think that's a bit of a myth we can touch on a little bit later as well.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, it comes back down to, lack of sleep almost becomes lack of willpower, in a lot of ways, because you're more tired, you're probably going to make worse decisions relating to nutrition and training. Yep. It's a lot easier to be lazy when you're waking up and you're already tired. So, if we can reverse that, if we can get into a good sleep cycle, if we can get into a good rhythm there, it's going to make it much, much easier for you guys. And again, there's going to be some days you wake up and like you're just not going to have the best sleep. Like no one's perfect, right? Shit happens. Like sometimes that's not going to be perfect, but it's about finding that, consistent routine. And I think obviously sleep and wake times is a massive thing that a lot of people don't do. They'll scroll on till 10 p.m. Monday night, then it might be 12 a.m. Tuesday, then it might be 9 p.m. Wednesday because they're so tired. And your body's circadian rhythm just keeps going all over the shop. So it is one thing where, one tip I will give is obviously just sleeping and waking at the same time. Doesn't need to be, 5:57 on the dot, but within that sort of half an hour is generally a really good guide that I like to give to clients as well to sort of help reset that circadian rhythm and get them feeling good again with their sleep and sleep habits.
Honestly, that's the number one tip I'd give as well, because it still shocks me just how many people have such a sporadic routine of like, Oh, I just felt like going to the gym at 9 p.m. So I went to bed at like 11 p.m. and also had a pre-workout before that and had a big meal after it and stuff. And then, Wednesday they didn't feel like training, but Tuesday night they trained at 9. And then, they're just schedules all over the place. And I'm like, just set the same time and get up the same time every single day.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Yeah, and I know on the weekend, obviously, people want to lie in and things like that, but we're not saying you have to get up at the exact same time. We're saying, you can delay it half an hour, maybe an hour, and you're probably going to be okay. But it's if you're getting up normally at 5 a.m. on a weekday and you're getting up at 10 a.m. on a weekend, that's where that difference is going to, start happening. If you're 5 on, 2 off, it's going to be really hard to reset that circadian rhythm. So I think that's one that, you guys definitely, if you haven't already, will need to do. And again, it's going to take some time as well. I think people go, they change it for 2 days and go, oh, I just haven't slept well, so that's it. And they just go back to the normal routine. It's probably going to take at least a week to sort of reset. And a bonus tip I would say would be to help is get some sunlight first thing in the morning as well. That will help just, get some more vitamin D in there. Obviously get you some more melatonin. So that will go throughout the day. More melatonin you have at night, the deeper and more restful sleep you're going to have as well.
Definitely. And if you can't get any sunlight throughout the day, like let's say it's winter or you wake up when it's dark in the morning, literally just turn the lights on in your house, like artificial light. It just helps wake up your body, wake up your brain.
Yeah. Like if I'm doing check-ins first thing in the morning on a Monday, it's like always like going to the office, like lights on, coffee, and like I'm ready to go as pretty much as soon as possible, because I know same thing. Like I know I'm at my best in the morning. Like even if I've woken up maybe a bit groggy, within 10 minutes I'm like I'm up and I'm good to go. And that is again because I've set my circadian rhythm that way. But again, if you ask me to do check-ins at 6 p.m, I'd tell you to get stuffed.
Exactly, and it goes back to dopamine and willpower and sleep, right? Like, why do people make decisions at the end of the day, at a hard work day, to pull into the servo and grab something when they were filling up petrol, or to just have that cheeky ice cream when they're watching Netflix at nights? Because your willpower and dopamine have been completely depleted throughout the day, and you need sleep to get that back up, to build it back to that baseline. And honestly, people just don't prioritize it. And not saying they don't prioritize dopamine and all that stuff, they don't prioritize their sleep. That specific example that you mentioned there of someone having to wake up at 10 a.m. Because they get up at 5 a.m. through the weekdays, it's like I'd be looking at all the other lifestyle factors you're doing of why is your body so fatigued and why is it so run down that you need an extra 5 hours sleep on the weekend. Realistically, you should be waking up, yes, a similar time, you can sleep in longer, but it shouldn't be too far off. 1 to 2 hours maybe. I had one housemate, side tangent here, he used to stay up late gaming on a weeknight. I used to hear him, and then he used to get up at 7 a.m, shower quickly out the door. He looked like shit, like bags under his eyes and everything. Came to the weekend, he would sleep until 1 p.m. in the afternoon, Saturdays and Sundays. And because he was so chronically fatigued and tired, but he just didn't prioritize it. It's as simple as that. And he used to give me shit for going to bed at like 9 p.m.
Yeah. It is funny. It's like all those people that, give you shit for going to bed and having a sleep time tend to be the ones that, are sleep deprived and don't tend to get results. So
I'm like, you lost your whole weekend, bro. Like pretty much you literally lost a day of your weekend. Like think about it. I got up at 7 on the Saturday. He doesn't get up till 1 p.m. It's like however many hours that is. I got that whole day. Combine that with Saturday and a Sunday, he's been asleep for half the weekend that I've been up.
It's funny, yeah.
It was insane to me.
Yeah. I think going back to, in terms of how we're going to use sleep, I think sleep and fat loss is a really good thing. So when we talk sleep and fat loss, obviously we know that it's going to be like an indirect effect, right? So if we're getting crap sleep, we're not recovering properly, we're in a fat loss phase, the body's already stressed because we're not feeding it enough, right? So if we get to a position where then sleep adds another stress onto that, that's obviously not going to be a good thing. And we know when we don't get enough sleep, when we talk about leptin and ghrelin, our two hunger and satiety hormones, hunger is going to rise, satiety is going to go down. So you might have the exact same food as you did, yesterday, but if you've had a shit sleep, you might just be 3 times as hungry, even if you're eating the exact same food. So, if you've ever felt that after having a crap sleep, you'll know straight away that, your hunger and satiety signals are a bit out of whack. And that is another reason why, people eventually, again, just gives them, more to be like, okay, yep, I want to cheat because I'm hungrier. So again, it's not going to directly, relate to you putting on body fat, but that psychological being hungrier, you can only do it for so long before, before you're going to go have your little cheat meal or whatever. And that's, again, goes back to willpower, goes out the window.
It does, which depletes over time, and especially if you don't get sleep, it depletes. We've mentioned that multiple times on this podcast now. So moral of the story, if you're on a fat loss phase and you're already restricting yourself from calories, energy, and food, the more sleep you get, the better you are going to adhere to the diet. And what makes a diet work? Adherence.
Yeah, and that's, again, it's the end of the day, like if you can nail your sleep, if you're already having a crap sleep and you can start nailing that, you'll be very surprised how much easier everything else becomes. You have more energy to train, you won't be as hungry, you're making better decisions with your nutrition, you'll want to start moving more. All these little things will happen when you wake up and have a bit more energy to begin with, and start actually prioritizing these sort of things. I think going into, especially when we talk about, muscle growth, body recomposition is how I'd like to sort of call it, because it's going to be sort of bit of fat loss, bit of muscle retention. But I've told this study, 5 times already on this podcast, but I've got to show it again for reference. People who slept 8 hours, people who slept 5 hours, calories, everything equated, training, protein, etc. The people, they both lost weight on the scale, but the people who slept 8 hours actually gained muscle and lost body fat. The people who slept 5 hours actually gained body fat and lost muscle, despite looking the same on the scale. So if you put those two people together, you're obviously going to see a dramatic difference in body composition in terms of how they look in the mirror, which is, of course, how you guys want to look at the end of the day. No one really cares about what you are on the scale if you look like shit in person.
I will play devil's advocate with that study. The reason being is we don't know what training program they're on.
Correct, but right? They were on the same training program.
They were on the same training program, but if they were actually on an efficient training program, I would argue they could still get away with building muscle. It just makes it a lot harder without sleep, right? We're not saying unless you're an insomniac or something, it's like, we're not saying like if you miss 1 hour or 2 hours here or there and it's sporadic, you still can't make progress. You can. You're just making it so much harder on yourself. That is all. And I would like to just point this out for people, because for some reason people feel shamed for going to bed early. I'm like, you can go to bed whatever time you want. If you get up at 4:30 in the morning, you want to go to bed at 7:30 because you're tired, why are you up? Like, a lot of people feel like, I have to be like, I don't want to feel like I'm going to bed early and miss out on life. I'm like, well, what are you doing from 7:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. anyway? Just watching Netflix, or, maybe this one social event might come up within 6-month period and I might miss out on it. It's like, this is what people put so much pressure and shame on themselves. It's like, just go to bed when you want to go to bed and when you're tired.
Yeah, I think, like you said, it's really good that you sort of added some context there, because that's what you need to do. It's like, if you're sleeping well every day, right, and then you have a Saturday night where you're out till like 12 o'clock, right, you're fine. It's not the end of the world, right? You make that choice. But like I said, if you're someone who's doing it every single night or most nights, that's when things are going to go the other way. So you need to have a good sleep routine to begin with, and then you can decide on, okay, this night I'm going out, that's fine. I understand my sleep's not going to be great that night. I can prioritize things around it and do what I can. So it is good, like I said. Everything we say, we like to try and sort of add some context to it as well. And the same thing goes with fat loss. Like, just because you don't sleep as well, like, does that mean you're going to cheat on your diet? And it's like, no. If you've got stronger willpower, you probably won't. Some people probably can do that. So again, context is key. But again, if you're looking at that, the extra rep, the extra percent to get the most out of your body, you need to set a sleep schedule. You need to follow it pretty diligently, and you will find massive benefits with everything that we've just talked about as well.
So there's one thing we haven't touched on, and that's the immune system. So people that can chronically get sick, and people, like a lot of parents out there know this, who get sleepless nights with the kid and all that stuff. They notice they're very susceptible to infections that the kids pick up from daycare, or they just get sick at work all the time. It's like, your body needs sleep to heal the immune system as well. This is where our body literally detoxifies, our brain detoxifies, our liver detoxifies. Like, it gets things going for your morning bowel movement, or if you wake up to go to the toilet, whatever it may be. So it is very important to get your sleep.
Yeah, and I think even going into this now, we'll sort of talk, I guess, some like sleep hacks or supplements and things that we've sort of going through and been using. And I know you've got the data on this one because I've jumped in. Recently I've been using nasal strips. So they're from Breathe Ease. You can use the code AFN15. There's your little shout out to Breathies, but actually really useful. So for under $1 a day or $1 a night, you get these little strips, they go on, and basically what this does is it helps to open up your nasal passage. So when we're breathing, you will find you call people mouth breathers. You're activating, when you're breathing through your nose, you're activating more through your parasympathetic nervous system, which is generally just going to lead to a more rested sleep. And I've done, some trials on this in terms of how I felt, in terms of some data, and then Liam has also done some data. What have you found?
So me being the analytical nerd that I am, I'm very data focused, I track a lot of things, and I'm someone who, if you followed my page for a while now, you've seen I'm a very good sleeper. I am meticulous about it. I track the data. I've had a resting heart rate of 34. I've had multiple hours of deep. I didn't think I could actually improve my sleep. And that sounds very arrogant, I know. And I ended up just getting I went to the Nutrition Warehouse sale and, they had a lucky dip from your purchase. And I ended up getting a free 30 pack of nasal strips. And I was like, oh, okay, why not give them a crack?
Yeah.
Second I put it on, breathed straight through my stomach and diaphragm. I was like, oh, that felt awesome. Went to sleep, woke up, checked my watch, 4 hours of deep sleep, over an hour and a half of REM. And I'm like, what are these numbers? This is ridiculous. Kept doing it for multiple nights. Then I noticed, I'm getting the notifications from my health app on my phone. It's like, hey, there's been a change in your trend of your resting heart rate, your breaths per minute, everything. So I've gone from 15 breaths per minute down to 12 breaths per minute. My resting heart rate has dropped. My HRV has increased, which is heart rate variability. You want that to increase when you wake. And I have personally noticed it used to take me a tiny bit in the morning to get going. I'll still set the alarm and I'll just get up and I'm good to go. I'm waking up just before my alarm, kind of wired, ready to go. I'm getting technically less sleep, but it's more deep and impactful sleep, and I'm ready to go. I'm this is pretty ridiculous, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm sold. I'm a fan.
Yeah. And I think mine was, it was I'd always be in the high 80s or around that 80 mark. And then as soon as I started having the nasal strips, it was just instantly I was up to 90, 95 and sticking around there. So again, the benefit's probably going to be different for everyone. For me, I probably noticed a good 10 to 20%. For you, you probably noticed, more so. And especially when it goes back to the duration of sleep. It's you were probably getting technically slightly less sleep. But if we can improve the quality of the sleep, which is exactly what the nasal strips are there for, they can be really easy. So I find them a really cheap and easy solution. If you guys want to, obviously, jump on those, feel free, give it a crack, give it a try. One thing I haven't done is mouth taping as well. For me, that's just going a bit too far. I want to try it, but I'm a bit shit scared. Don't want to be mummified at the moment. But I've heard, people have the mouth tape and the nose tape, and they're out. They have, crazy sleep.
I've got facial hair, so...
Yeah.
A mouth tape, it just seems a little bit...
Yeah, probably not great.
A little bit uncomfortable. Yeah. But I will say, because there's probably someone out there that gets really good sleep and they prioritize their sleep, but they may still feel like crap throughout the day. I used to be one of these people. I used to have to sleep 10 hours a night. It was ridiculous. I'd go to bed at 9 and I'd wake up at 7:30. My body was struggling to get out of bed. And I'm I just slept for 10 hours. Why am I struggling, right? And we look at the impact of the quality of sleep. So tracking all those metrics before, as I mentioned, I was getting a lot of light sleep, REM sleep and all that, but I wasn't getting that quality deep sleep that I needed. And having the nasal strips really helped me, because it's I'm getting shorter sleep, but I'm technically getting better sleep and I'm not tired in the morning. So I actually get those 1 to 2 hours back in the day, which makes me more productive. But one thing that also I noticed, because it wasn't just the nasal strips, right? It was actually my training volume. I used to do way too much training volume that I couldn't recover from, even though I thought I was recovering from it. Turns out my body was actually just asking for more and more rest.
Yeah. And it's funny, even the training volume thing, we won't cover it too much, but if it goes too high, again, of course, that can impact sleep as well. I still think a lot of people, it's they don't overtrain, they under-recover. I think that's a good mantra for a lot of people. But again...
You can literally just flip that on its head, because if you're overtraining, that's why you're under-recovering, because your body's asking for more and more sleep.
Of course. It goes both ways. I think in terms of supplements, the one supplement that I've found has actually had the one that actually I feel works is Dream by Axe Labs. I'm pretty sure I've got a discount code as well. I think it's Action Fitness 10. So feel free to try that. Expensive. It's like $100 Australian, but really, really useful. Like I have a scoop of that and I have some whack dreams, but I'm really in that deep and REM sleep. If someone has struggled to get to sleep, valerian root, prescribed that with a few clients, and they really like that for being able to get to sleep a bit quicker. Staying asleep, it's kind of hard. Like I don't want to recommend ashwagandha just because there's a few, it's probably good, but there's also, taking it by itself. A lot of people have received some research to say it sort of numbs and blunts your sort of emotions a little bit. So I wouldn't take it for a prolonged use. And of course, consult your doctor with any supplement recommendations we give as well. The other one I'd recommend in terms of just like de-stressing would be like L-theanine and 5-HTP. I find those are really good, especially if you're more of an anxious wired person that struggles to calm down. L-theanine and 5-HTP for me have been really good if I've been anxious, to just help me just drop down, get a restful sleep. You got any?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've got the whole stack, but I'll summarize it and just make it real quick. So I'll give you 3. Number 1, magnesium glycinate. Amazing for just calming your nervous system down, especially for relaxing your muscles and everything from if you have, done a lot of training throughout the day. Next one is saffron extract, 30 milligrams at night. This one was a game changer for me. I used to be someone who I had no problem sleeping, but getting to sleep, I'd toss and turn a bit. Saffron just completely got rid of that for me. And the next one is not actually a supplement. It's honey and chamomile tea. Literally a chamomile tea and a teaspoon of raw organic honey. The reason that's good, right, is because some people with insulin resistance and blood sugar issues throughout the night, that's why their cortisol spikes, they wake up, they have a weak bladder, they have to go to the toilet, right? But drinking chamomile and honey, so the sugar in the honey really helps assist with detoxifying the liver, actually producing insulin with the pancreas. Honey's been shown to be doing that, so there's a lot of studies and references out there. And then chamomile, same thing, not only for circulation, but the heat calms the nervous system down when you drink it as a tea. So yeah, that's a really cheap and effective one. The other 2 supplements, saffron and magnesium glycinate, cost money. Not saying honey and chamomile doesn't cost money, but a big tip I just give for a lot of people is actually just make sure you keep water and food as far away from your bedtime as possible. We don't want to spend energy trying to digest food, or, if you're really hydrated right before bed, you risk having to get up during the night, disrupting your sleep, taking a piss. What happens when people get up at night? They check their phone straight away to see what the time is. Oh shit, it's 3 a.m. If they don't have their phone on do not disturb or sleep, they're like, oh shit, a notification comes through. It's like all these little things can really ruin it for people.
Yeah. I find that's funny, like you mentioned, with the not eating, I actually saw something about, I think it was about kiwi fruit. And like I said, if people are waking up during the night, like I said, goes back to that, glucose spike and that. So people have been having like kiwi fruit, or potentially just some sort of, either honey or fruit, potentially before, a couple of hours before bed. And they're finding that actually helps them stay asleep and not wake up, whether that's, obviously going for a piss is a different story. Just don't drink so much water before bed. But yeah, that could be something that if you are waking up multiple times and not knowing why, could be a blood sugar issue. So yeah, potentially having some more fruit before bed could be a super option there for you. Anything else?
No, that's plenty.
Cool.
Yeah, that's plenty. Blue light blocking glasses is probably the only one I'd actually recommend as well. Just because it's I think it's really unrealistic for people to be like, no screens 2 hours before bed. You must sit in a bath, read a book, and have your Himalayan pink salt lamp or candle lamp. It's just sometimes people, the 1 hour before bed is the only time they get to wind down and maybe check their messages or watch a movie or whatever. So it's realistically, if you just wear some glasses, it just reduces the strain on the eyes and you can sleep like a baby after.
Yeah. I always say to clients, I'm like, look, I'm not expecting you guys to not ever scroll on your phone, but I'm like, once you get into bed, that's when I want you to set the alarm and put it away.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you're sitting in front of the TV, that's cool. You can scroll in front of the TV. Once you get to bed, I'm like, I want that place to be, once you're in there, you're sleeping. Yep. You set your alarm, your phone goes away. And even, setting an alarm so you have to get up in the morning and go get your phone potentially from a different room or further away could be a really useful strategy as well. But I think that covers it, guys. You should have some really insightful tips around sleep. Of course, please apply context to all of this. If you're not sure if some of these things apply to you or don't, make sure you message us. You can contact me at Action Fitness Nutrition on Instagram and Liam at Coach Liam C. Murphy. But until next time, guys, we'll see you in the next podcast.
See you guys.